Hey everybody, welcome to the tower. I hope you're having a great day and a good time, but if you're not, you've come to the right place. So what do we do here? Well, I draw two cards from the Major Arcana deck just like this to find out your overall tower moment energy, okay? Then we clarify. We will do 3, 2, and 3, and then we will flip both decks over to see what's on the bottom, to tie this all together and try to make sense of it. These are tower moment readings, so they're not always nice or friendly or, good, but towers often aren't, right? So just be prepared for that. All these messages are timeless, so whenever you're watching this is when the universe wanted you to see it, and there are no star signs. Everybody gets to play. With all that out of the way, I hope that you find some value in this video somewhere, and it helps you out, so you hit the old subscribe button, helps the channel, totally free, and I do try to upload every day. So, with all that out of the way, if I don't say that, by the way, the YouTube police will arrest me, and I don't want that. It's in the fine print. You can look it up for yourself if you don't want to. You don't believe me. All right, the chariot on this side of the tower is basically the energy of you being pushed into something you don't want to do very quickly, very fast. Things are moving too fast, and you don't like it, but you feel like you don't have a choice. That's the chariot on this side of the tower. Sometimes you're on the chariot, it's driving you. Sometimes you're pulling the chariot. You're the horse, or whatever that thing is. Anyway, that leads right to the tower, because of course it does. You're being forced into things you don't like to do. And that leads to the Emperor card. So after this tower moment, it feels like you're just, you hit a wall, you get wrecked, you don't like what you're doing, but you decide, you kind of put it onto your energy that you're never going to be put like this again. You're never going to be anyone else's workhorse again. You're never going to be forced to do things that you don't want to do or don't like, or, especially if it's a favor. And I'm getting the energy that this was a favor that got turned into a whole lot more than what it was supposed to be. But we'll clarify here in a little bit, because the Emperor card just pretty much clarifying the rest of it, saying, yeah, this was just something you agreed to do, and it got blown way out of proportion. Yeah, well, there it is. 5 of Wands, Queen of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles. Oh boy, yep, that's exactly what it is. This was something that you definitely agreed to on your own. I don't know what this is. This favor turned into a nightmare. You said, yeah, sure, I'll do that for you, and then you think it was going to be a quick job, it was going to be simple and easy, and it turns into a 6-hour ordeal, and this person who you agreed to help is now depending on you for everything, and they're giving you the guilt trip if you feel like, I'm not even supposed to be here, or I got other things to do, or whatever the situation is. This is draining your life, your money, and your mental health, your physical health. You're putting too much energy into this favor, and it's starting to, and you're just trying to get along to be along. You're trying to avoid the conflict here, but it's very difficult, because more and more and more you feel like the person you've agreed to help is acting like a boss, is acting like a ungrateful prick, and you don't like that. You're just like, I agreed to help you, and now you're acting like this kind of thing. You get the idea. Tower moment. Page of Swords, Page of Wands. Yep, there's gonna be some sparks here at this tower, and it might break the friendship. It might break this bridge you have with this person. I don't know what the bridge is. Could be a friend, could be a family member. I'm not quite sure, but this is someone who you readily agreed to help. So you know this person, and the bond is decent and strong. You can trust this person for most of the time, but they just turned into a real slave driver. And now you start asking questions in the tower moment. You're like, what am I doing here? Why am I here? And you start getting mad. You start pushing back. And that brings the tower moment. The minute you push back on this is when the tower moment hits. And you're probably a nice person. I don't want to call you a simp or anything like that. But when it comes to friends and family, you're willing to help. And this is just way too far. This is This is like, hey, could you bring the paint upstairs? And then all of a sudden they ask you to paint the room, you know. And it's like, well, I didn't agree to that, but now that I'm here, I might as well help, you know, kind of thing. And it just gets worse from there. Emperor card. Four of cups, actually. Wands. I was going to say wands. 3 pentacles. 9 of swords. Yep, this is going to cause some drama in your friends, your family, whoever you're working with. You're not going to accept favors from them anymore. You're not going to agree to do anything for them anymore. You're going to kind of ignore them. You're going to be very careful of how much work you put into things from now on, because yeah, this favor totally turned into someone using you. And they basically just said, oh, you're doing a great job. I'm going to go downstairs and, you know, take a nap. They probably didn't say that, but they just ended up doing it. And you're going to catch them in the act or something. So you got to be very careful who you give your energy and time to from now on. And it's not going to bother you at all because, hey, people burn the bridges, right? They ask for too much. They demand too much. This is why people don't help each other move anymore. It's like, hey, could you help move? And then it's like everybody's like, yeah, no, I'm busy that day. I don't know what day it is, but I'm busy. Because a lot of times you end up doing most of the work. And most of us have learned that that's not good. And you're going to learn that lesson too. This is your learnable moment of why people don't volunteer for things. Why people don't volunteer for favors much anymore, or whatever, because you're gonna paint that room, you're gonna mow that lawn, you're gonna do all the things that they said they would do. But hey, now that you're here, it's like, hey, could you help me do this one more thing? And pretty soon it just snowballs into I've worked harder than I do in my own house kind of situation. At the bottom of the deck we have we got the 5 of Pentacles. That is the energy of getting out, running. You're going to hit your limit and you are leaving. You are leaving this person out in the cold. They're done. You don't want anything to do with them anymore. You've had your limit. And Justice in the Moon. You don't see this coming. That's the problem with this whole energy. This is a favor and you're like, yeah, sure, I'll come over, I'll help, I'll do this, I'll do that, whatever. And then, you know, you don't see it coming, but then the balance hits when they ask you to do too much and you finally push back and you finally say enough's enough, I'm not going to do it anymore. There's your reading for today. I hope it didn't resonate with too many of you, but there are people out there who use people without even thinking about it, and this is one of them, and you got stuck in their web. So remember, just say no. Or at least if you get stuck if they keep asking you to do more and more stuff, start asking why. Don't be afraid to say a few things. Use your words, not your fists. Don't punch anybody. Don't do that. Words only. Feel free to leave at any time. When they keep adding things to do on the to-do list. But yeah, you're done with this person, I think, probably for a while. At least when it comes to favors. Anyway, I'm going to show you the cards and we'll be done. Here we go. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate everyone who clicked on it. I know making it to the end of a video like this is difficult because that's what the statistics say. Most people click out about halfway through, or, you know, after they get the message, they're like, yep, I get it, I'm gone. But if you're still here, thank you. Anyway, that's your reading for today. I do try to upload every single day, so like I asked earlier, please think about hitting subscribe. If you're still here, you must have found it interesting. I hope. And yeah, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Peace out, and, you know, stay out of trouble. Bye.